Tonight, President Trump working on something big with Admiral Rogers, and is Snowden about to drop the hammer on Zuckerberg? Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, I start off each and every one of these episodes by saying thank you to each and every one of my subscribers. Without you guys, this channel would not be possible, so thank you so much to everybody who's come here and hit the subscribe button. If you have not hit the subscribe button, please come here and click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way, you'll be notified as soon as these videos get posted, because as soon as this information is made available to me, I make it available to you. Now, we're going to jump right into the Q. So, before we get into what Q just posted, I want to talk a little bit about what has happened today on Capitol Hill. We have Mark Zuckerberg, who testified in front of a committee in which he was actually grilled by about a little over 30 different senators today. And some of the highlights from there, you guys can go look up for yourself. But this article kind of sums it up, and I hate to agree with anything the Atlantic puts out because I don't really like their content or material, but it's so true. Zuckerberg is halfway to scot-free. He avoided any kind of real questions today. He avoided, and I watched pretty much the whole thing from top to bottom. The only people who seemed to even remotely ask questions that were apparently, to the point of what's being investigated here, were people like Ted Cruz and believe it or not, Lindsey Graham and a couple others. But for the most part, it was just a light slap on the wrist and a bad Mark Zuckerberg, don't do that again. And just as he has done several times before in the past, he just continuously apologizes and says that he is continuing to work hard to make a new, better way to have social media interactions. Now, just going over my quick take on what I heard today, Zuckerberg he didn't seem like the worst person in the world to me. And I know that might be a controversial statement to say. He actually seemed like a semi-conflicted individual who actually, for his lack of personality and lack of social skills, seems to actually have some kind of realization that his platform goes beyond partisan lines. And although he is obviously in the pocket of people working against or working toward removing the First Amendment, he is obviously in another world that is just beyond what we could even comprehend when you have that much money and that much power. But some of the things that really stood out to me about what he says that I don't like really strike to what he wants to do with censoring hate speech. Now, there's no reasonable definition of hate speech I've ever heard, okay? Because you can't pronounce violence against one another. You can't threaten people with violence, obviously. You can't, on most of these platforms, you can't really show nudity. You can't do things like that. But for him to get up in front of a congressional committee and say things like, well, every time he was and this was a great deflection for him, every time he was asked a question that related to something in regard to, him banning alternative right groups, Catholic groups, other groups that have obviously supported right-leaning agendas, he just kind of deflects into, well, we're really proud of how we've limited terrorist traffic talk and posts, and we're really proud of how we've really stepped the throttle up on banning hate speech. And you're just sitting there listening to this complete. It's all rehearsed. He's obviously had hours, days, maybe even weeks with attorneys going over what to say, how to answer the questions, and he made even a couple of mistakes that I thought just showed that he's human. So that's kind of a good thing, because as humans, hopefully we all have the ability to repent and become better individuals. So I don't want to be the first to judge him. As the Bible says, judge not lest ye be judged. So, but I will say this, I can judge what his actions have been so far. And from my perspective and what I'm hearing in these, committee hearings, that he is basically saying that they're just going to continue to step the throttle up on banning free speech and making their platform a completely biased and partisan platform, going against the FTC regulations in this regard. And we'll have to wait and see what comes out of that. If you guys want to watch that, feel free to. Now, one thing I thought that was really funny is this, that Alex Jones was putting together a meeting today at the National Press Club where he interviewed people like or he had people come up and speak like Dr. Corsi, Lee Stranahan. Alex Jones spoke. He had his lawyer speak about the anti-SLAPP lawsuit they filed against the professor who is filing what seems to be a frivolous lawsuit against InfoWars, trying to ban the First Amendment. And it's funny how this just dominated the news cycle. But I guarantee you, if this Zuckerberg hearing hadn't been going on, a lot more people would have paid attention to what Alex Jones and his group was saying over at the National Press Club. So part of me part of me believes that there is definitely some strategic thought behind making Mark Zuckerberg speak today to Congress. Now, with that being said, I'll leave both those things. They're too long to really feature here in this episode. So if you want to check them out, feel free to go look them up. You can look up Zuckerberg's hearing. CNET has the whole thing. It's around 5.5 hours. And if you want to watch Alex Jones stuff today, it also is about 5 hours. So as you can probably tell, I've been spending a lot of my day watching those things. Now, getting into the Q posts. The first post that Q puts up there, and this is where we left it off last night, is going into this. It's a picture here. And for those of you who can't see all this, there is about 20 of the military's top-ranking officers there with Donald Trump, and they're having with the the Secretary of Defense, James Mattis, and they are having a meeting here discussing defense tactics and what is going on. And this is a picture that Q posts. Now, what does Q say? He says, "Who is standing next to Pence and POTUS? Message, Bolton cleaning house. Out they go. A clean house is very important, Q." Okay, so there's a lot going on here that we want to point to. And the first thing is pretty obvious to most people who watch this, is if you kind of blow it up here and look at who we're talking about. This gentleman right here who's standing right next to Mike Pence and Donald Trump, President Trump, that would be Admiral Mike Rogers of the NSA. Now, why is Admiral Rogers important? Well, Admiral Rogers was the man who went to Donald Trump after he was elected, and most of us believe that he went and basically spilled the beans on what was going on with the deep state, the Luciferianism, the Satanism, the pedophilia, the child abuse and sacrifice, all of these crazy subjects that obviously, with the mass data collection going on at the NSA, they were able to basically put all this together and disclose it to the president-elect at the time. And it's just incredible. He also has been alleged to be very much involved with this QAnon initiative here that we're on doing every single day. So, and Admiral Rogers may very well be one of the people coordinating, if not dropping here on the Q boards. But what's really fascinating to me is there's a few things about this picture that stood out to me almost immediately as I looked at it. The first thing, though, is pretty simple. If you actually look at this picture, right, we'll back it out for you guys to look for yourself. But, okay, now, if you count the people, right, if you count the Army officers, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then on this side, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay? And a lot of people pointed out that there's 9 and 11. Now, could this just be they needed an even, there wasn't enough room on the other side? Yeah, it's very possible that there wasn't enough room on the other side, or they wanted to get all the flags in, or whatever the case may be. It is very possible, but these are all signals, usually, especially when you get together the most important people in our entire country here. I think Q sharing this photo with us, there's got to be more to it than just the fact that Admiral Rogers is in it. Now, Admiral Rogers is a true patriot, and there is reports out there that he's going to be retiring this spring. Now, is he going to retire with a bang, and is he going to help Trump to leave things way better than they found them? We're still kind of leaving that up to time to tell. I don't want to get it too much into what is or is not confirmed, but they've talked a lot about who's going to replace Admiral Rogers when he retires. Now, the main guy in running is this guy right here, Lieutenant General Paul Nakasone, and I don't have enough research on him to really give you guys a good breakdown of who and how he will act, if he is a good actor, bad actor. But I know he was appointed in 2016, and he was appointed in charge of the U.S. Army Cyber Command. So he's been doing a lot of things for the country and working on our behalf and working with Admiral Rogers. So we'll just have to wait and see. If you guys have any thoughts or info on this guy, I'd love to hear it. I've been spending pretty much all day watching Zuckerberg's testimony and watching Alex Jones in the press club, so I apologize I haven't gotten much done. And you guys, I thank you so much for all the prayers and everything. I am still under the weather. I'm sure you can probably pick it up in my voice, but I'm trying to my best to stay here with you guys because I made you a promise that I'm always going to make this information available to you as soon as it becomes available to me. So thank you so much for joining me here, and thank you for all the prayers and support and all the little remedies you guys shared about ways to get rid of this. I think it's just a little bit of the common flu. So, without going too much into me, let's stick to the Q. He's saying, who is standing next to Pence and POTUS? It's Admiral Rogers. Message. The message is he is basically right there at their, the right-hand man, basically. Now, it says Bolton is cleaning house. And yes, they did bring Bolton in for a very good reason, I believe. I think, and I've said this before, it seems as though Bolton has had a tumultuous past where he's made some pretty boneheaded decisions, but he's a bulldog who takes orders. And unfortunately, he was taking orders from somebody he probably would not or should not have been taking orders from. And, or probably, I shouldn't say that. It would have been a dereliction of duty for him not to. So let's phrase it in that form. And it says that Trump's actually putting together this house cleaning, right? And out they go. And a clean house is very important. So let's look back to all the times that Q mentions a clean house. Okay, so we're going to do that right now. All right, so here's the first one. This is from December of 2017, where it says, we are moving fast. Remember, not all within the CIA, DOJ, FBI are bad apples. House cleaning from the top. Restructuring 1 to 2. Operations 24/7 speed. So this has been going on for quite some time. They're trying to clean the house out, and it's started basically all the way back with getting rid of people like Bannon and Priebus and them inside the White House, and now going through the CIA and the DOJ and the FBI. Now, the next one is where Q says that Theresa May, the Prime Minister of Britain, has been neutralized. It says MI6 and the SIS are undergoing house cleaning. The Queen monarchs seeking shelter. Patience. These people are stupid. Q. So obviously those in control are seeking shelter, it seems like, especially over there in England. So to everybody watching in the UK, I just want to tell you guys, we need to keep our faith, because Q is not just talking about what's going on here in America. This is going on across the world. And as much as May wants to backtrack on the whole Brexit thing and wants to allow people like Sadiq Khan to just come in and, you want knife control? Isn't that a fun thing? Have you guys heard this? The mayor of London has decided that knife control is actually a reasonable answer to the knife deaths that are happening there because they took away all the guns. Well, you know what? Next it's going to be baseball bat bans, and next it's going to be, after that, it's going to be blunt object bans. I mean, there's no end to this insanity. And then if you think about it, I mean, what are they going to do with the thousands of restaurants in London that have tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of pieces of silverware, sharp knives? Is there really a regulation for all that? I mean, is there really a way to do it besides becoming a complete dictatorial nanny state that comes in and just controls every facet of your life? I don't think so. So, the next time he mentions it here, he says, and this is from March 28th, so not too long ago, about 2 weeks ago. He says, what does the house cleaning represent? We always knew. Final stage. What does North Korea represent? Threat, safeguard, insurance, proof. Kim to China represents something vital, key. Many will be buried before exposed themselves. False flag distractions. And you've seen the distractions and false flags that have been put up since then. So we don't need to rehash each and every one of those, but there are quite a few that can be just come to mind, especially if you look at just what happened in Syria, where you have the chemical attack, that there's still really no proof that Assad did it, and there was no strategic value for Assad to do it, and it just really doesn't make sense why he would do it to bring a global war to his footsteps, or to his doorstep. But it's just incredible right now to see where we're at right now, especially with the Syria thing and how we are expecting this decision from Trump. I'm really curious to see what his decision is. Are we going to launch more cruise missiles? Are we going to have a limited tactical invasion? Are we going to have a large-scale invasion? Or are we going to do nothing? You guys let me know what you think in the comments. I would love to hear your thoughts on that. And finally, we have it here where he's talking about how this is the last part we see house cleaning, where you see Q saying, and it's in an AN0N post, Free Flynn, he says, done in 30, as in 30 days, I believe. So by the end of April, we should have Flynn being pardoned for his crime, which is he really needs to be pardoned because it was technicality that no general with that kind of distinguished background should ever be put in that position, especially since I believe his brother or his brothers are all like serving in high-ranking officer positions, and I just can't imagine what it's like for them too to see their brother going through that. Now, he says, done in 30, house cleaning, White House secured, final stage, Q. So as of right now, what it seems is going on is that across the board in several different places there's house cleaning, and we brought in Bolton to kind of affect that very quickly. He's a no-nonsense, hardcore, devout follower of the leader of the free world and the POTUS, and it's just really incredible times that we live in. If you guys have any thoughts on that, please drop them down in the comments, and we'll talk about that going further. I'll probably be on the board here later tonight, the comment board, just going through what you guys have in your thoughts and what we can talk about. But now it says, the next post that Q drops says, at Snowden, yes, testify then drop. We have it all. These people are stupid. Fireworks. POTUS's weekly address, and Q. Now, we've already watched POTUS's weekly address, and it was basically outlining the framework for which he's going to go after the people who are violating federal law and ignoring federal mandates from Washington with regard to sanctuary city policies and other policies inside of the state of California. And Eric Holder is going to become very important in the next few days, I believe, with regard to that. And there is certainly something to be said about what we are going to go through coming up here. And the way I read this is you have Q's talking to Snowden. And I think, in my personal opinion, the 8chan board has got to be a way for covert communication. It's probably the best way. And I've made this analogy before, but I'll make it again for everybody who's new and some who didn't hear it in the last video. If you've ever heard of the term suppressive fire, it's a great allegory for what's going on in the QAnon research boards on 8chan. When Q communicates with us, you have hundreds and hundreds of different anonymous people communicating back to Q simultaneously almost. Within a matter of 30 minutes, they can drop 750 posts, and it's very poignant to go through it and read what they say. But imagine you're a soldier and you're on a battlefield and you're trying to advance to get to the next position, the next foxhole, to move up another 100 yards. If you're having enemies firing at you, right, you're not going to just get up out of your foxhole and go run up to the next one. What you're going to do is you're going to ask all the soldiers who are near you to lay down something called suppressive fire. And when you lay down that suppressive fire, you actually will get the enemy to pull back their firing for a brief moment, just long enough so that you can move forward and advance into a new position. The principle that I'm pointing to is what's going on in the 8chan boards. Q wants this truth to come out. They need to share it with us, but they also need us just as much as we need them. We are the suppressive fire for their ability to communicate outside of the realm of what would be able to be intercepted by certain sniffer programs and certain CIA supercomputer or NSA supercomputers that are through the dissemination of information sharing and the intelligence agencies. It's not just the NSA who has access primarily to these servers that can pick up pretty much any data that's transferred digitally in the world, but namely in the United States. So that's what our job is. Our job is to lay down that suppressive fire. Our job is to go on those boards and to give our thoughts and to communicate. And Q will pick out those he sees fit, and he will respond to you and give you an answer if he believes that you have something that needs to be addressed. I pointed this out in my other videos that I've participated in this process, and I've actually had positive confirmation that I've actually been responded to by Q. So this is just something that, if you look at it in its totality, our job is to remain humble, to remain loyal to the cause of saving our country, and to lay down that suppressive fire of spreading this information far and wide, so that no matter how many bots and sniffers they put out there to try to shut this down, that they do not succeed. Now, getting into my read on Snowden here, I think, and this was all what I was talking about with Snowden, is that he is obviously, in my opinion, communicating through the 8chan, and it may be secret, it may be just a post here and there in some coded language, but then if you put it in context with all the other messages, it's almost impossible to decipher, almost impossible to pick up if the bots are out there watching, listening, whatever. So Q responds to Snowden, and he says yes. So whatever Snowden said, he's saying yes. And then he says, testify, then drop. Now, what I believe that is that Q's saying they're going to let Mark Zuckerberg testify, right? They're going to let him basically, they're giving him enough rope to hang himself, people. And you got to understand that. That's why the testimony today was such a softball, t-ball match for him. Everything was basically teed up, and there's only like 2 or 3 sets of hard question lines. It's because they're giving him the rope to metaphorically hang himself. So what are they doing? They're saying, we have it all. We have all the stuff. There's the text messages I'm sure he sent, the private messages he sent, all the information that would point to Zuckerberg being in control of this monopoly that is Facebook, and then selling that information illegally. They have it all. And it's saying that there's going to be fireworks, and that POTUS's weekly address was addressing this exact thing. Because, where is Facebook based out of? California. And it says, this is going to be the end. That's going to be it. We're going to see this drop. It's going to come out in the news. And when is it going to drop, you ask? Well, I have a theory about that too. Just funny you ask. If we go here, right, and we look up the Patriots Day, right? Sorry. Look up Patriots Day in the last Q post. And here it is from January 13th, 2018. He says, we are fighting for life. We are fighting for good. We are at war at. So as in at Jack, with Twitter, with the social media, with everybody. It says, not everything will be clean, scare, necessary event. Now, I'm not sure if that's referring to the what we just saw in Syria with the chemical attack, or if there's going to be something coming up, and we're going to go over when it would come up. It says, necessary event. Do you trust the U.S. military? Do you trust the chain of command? Have faith. We are in control. Patriots. Patriots Day, have faith. You were chosen for a reason. You are being provided the highest level of intel to ever be dropped publicly in the history of the world. Use it. Protect and comfort those around you. Where we go one, we go all. Q. So why is Patriots Day important? Well, in this, Q likes to tell us stuff well in advance so that we can look back and then it's future proving the past. And what we're going to see here is, when is Patriots Day coming up? Well, Patriots Day is a day that's usually associated with the anniversary of the Battle of Lexington and Concord, which have been mentioned recently. And it's got the Boston Marathons on that day. We have different things that go on usually on that day. And this year it's going to be falling on April 16th. So in from here, 5 or 6 days. So imagine this. Q here in this post is letting us know that we're at battle with we're at war with the social medias, and there's going to be an event that comes up here in the next few days. I'm assuming it's going to be around Patriots Day on the 16th, and that event is going to put us in a place where we're going to have to maintain our faith. Now, I have no idea what that event's going to be as of right now. I really want to hear your thoughts in the comments, so please share your thoughts on what's going to happen on Patriots Day, if anything, and if this post is possibly connected to that. What's going to come out? What are we going to be looking at? And he's already predicted the fact that Mark Zuckerberg will be stepping down, and other things that you can go back and go through my last few videos, really, and get a good idea of what we're talking about here. I don't know why those aren't loading. That's cool. Anyway, go back and watch some of my last videos if you want to get a good idea of what's going on with this issue and phenomena. But that's my opinion. That's what I think. I want to hear what you guys have to think in the comments, so please share your thoughts down there, and that would be incredibly helpful. Now, that's going to be about it for this episode. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching. Excuse me. And I want to thank all my subscribers, because we hit 50,000, which is great. So I appreciate that. If you have not hit the subscribe button, the easiest way to help this channel, to keep it alive, to keep the Q research going, and to keep all of us together here in this initiative, is to come here and click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. It costs you nothing. It helps me out big time. So thank you so much in advance for coming and doing that. Now, another way you can contribute, please go down to the comments and leave your thoughts, because, we basically have our own Q research boards down at the end of each of these videos, where everybody goes over what was said in the post, what they think, what their thoughts are, and we've actually got quite a group now together of people who make great evaluations on an analysis on what Q's saying. And so even if you can't comment, please go down to the comment thread and read through them. You're going to learn things you didn't know before. I promise you that. Now, if you're looking for another way to contribute to the channel, please come over here to my Patreon. That's patreon.com. Search Just Informed Talk. You can come here to this landing page, click the big red button, and become a patron and contribute what you can. I appreciate everything. Check out my rewards. Check out my goals. There's some cool stuff you can earn here on the Just Informed Talk page. So please come check it out here at patreon.com. Now, finally, what we're going to talk about here is, what is the most important thing in these times of trial for each of us to remember? And that's God. As I've been dealing with my sickness and just having a few things come up in my day-to-day life that are troublesome and worrisome for me as an individual, nothing to do with Q, nothing to do with what's going on in the world, as much as, we all have our own little things that we go through on a day-to-day basis, right? And the one thing I always remind myself constantly is the power of prayer and the value of investing in myself. And what do I mean by that? Well, I'm going to read you guys a short little passage here from Ecclesiastes, and it's chapter 11, and we're going to read this, but it's about investing in life. And it's just such profound words that I want to share with you guys here. So here you go. It says, "Send your bread on the surface of the waters, for after many days you may find it. Give a portion to 7 or even to 8, for you don't know what disaster may happen on earth. If the clouds are full, they will pour out rain on the earth. Whether a tree falls to the south or the north, the place where the tree falls, there it will lie. One who watches the wind will not sow, and the one who looks at the clouds will not reap. Just as you don't know the path of the wind or how bones develop in the womb of a pregnant woman, so you don't know the work of God, who makes everything. In the morning sow your seed, and at evening do not let your hand rest, because you don't know which will succeed, whether one or the other, or if both of them will be equally good. Light is sweet, and it is pleasing for the eyes to see the sun. For if a man should live many years, let him rejoice in them all, and let him remember the days of darkness, since they will be many. All that comes is futile. Rejoice, young man, while you are young, and let your heart be glad in the days of your youth, and walk in the ways of your heart and in the sight of your eyes. But know that for all these things God will bring you to judgment. Remove sorrow from your heart and put away pain from your flesh, because youth and the prime of life are fleeting. Now, those words just resonate true to me. I'm going through a few things that are just, they're all, in my opinion, part of God's plan. But this verse reminds me that God's plan's already set, and we're going to follow that because it's been preordained by the Lord. And the fact that we have free will is only relative to the fact that ultimately God will bring us to judgment. And we can't focus so much on things that don't matter. We have to focus on the things that we want. So if we want to sow good deeds and then reap the rewards, we have to focus on sowing the good deeds, or else we'll never reap the rewards. It even says, when you send your bread on the surface of the waters, after many days you may find it. Meaning what you put out in the world may come back to you, and most likely will. So try every day to put good into the world. And remember this, that you must remove the sorrow from your heart and put away pain from your flesh, because youth and the prime of life are fleeting. Every day is precious. We don't know God's plan, and we don't know what's coming next. But if we embrace God every day, and we embrace Him, so that when we look back on our life in the good times, we'll remember the days of darkness, since they will be many. So, please, everyone out there, remember all the good in the world and all the bright and light stuff that we have to focus on. We don't have to focus on it because God even said to. It's because it's part of God's plan. It's His will. For us, even though we have free will, we have to focus on that, because there's going to be many dark days, and we're going to want to always be able to use those as a reference to know how good it can be and how good it is. So thank you all for watching. If you don't take anything away from these episodes, or this episode, I really hope you guys take that away and take it to heart, so that you all take the time to invest in life. But that's going to be it for me. I apologize again for being under the weather. Not ideal for me. I am just not doing that great, but I'm getting better every day. So thank you all for the support and thoughts and prayers. Again, if you haven't and you want to join the Just Informed Talk initiative, if you have not hit that subscribe button, please come here to this landing page. Click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell for notifications. That way you can get involved here. And let me know what you think in the comments. I always love hearing that. But that's going to be it for today. I want to thank each and every one of you for watching and bearing through this with me while I'm sick. But God bless each and every one of you, and I really can't wait to do another episode. We'll get right into it. Hopefully I'll be feeling better soon. But that's going to be it for tonight. I want to say thanks for watching. I'm Craig. This is Just Informed Talk. God speed and God bless you all, Patriots.